Since I've been reviewing some of these episodes well into the annual hiatus for Power Rangers, it's come to my attention that this episode and the mid-season finale episode originally aired together as sort of a two-part introduction to the Gold Ranger. That's a pretty good way to not only introduce the character effectively, but also leave the series on a high note until it's ready to continue later on in the year. Of course, that's assuming these episodes are good, but given how much story has been built around the Gold Ranger so far, I'm at the very least interested to see the endgame of Madame Odious' evil plan. So let's go ahead and talk about the first part of the mid-season finale as we look at episode 7, Hack Attack. The episode opens with Sarah running into Mick as she gets ready for 4 clubs she's involved in, with Mick questioning how she can be in 4 places at once since all the clubs start at the same time. Sarah doesn't give a full answer before running off in excitement, while on the ship, Madame Odious checks on her stowaway since, quote, the transfer is almost complete. Back with Sarah, she goes through all 4 clubs, showing up each of her friends in different activities, even demonstrating a new boomerang arrow to impress her archery club led by Principal Hastings. The principal congratulates Sarah on breaking the school's distance record, which rubs Victor Vincent the wrong way since that record used to be his. In order to reclaim his title, Victor shoots an arrow that he just nodded to show up Sarah, complete with a Robin Hood outfit because for Victor, it's go big or go home. However, Victor ends up knocking down a beehive, with the bees chasing after him and Monty, before we cut to some time later where Sarah's showing the other Rangers some modifications she made to their blasters. The team questions how Sarah found the time to work on the blasters if she was at all the clubs at the same time, but before she can answer, a monster called Hacktrack randomly shows up with some Kudabots demanding the Rangers' tech. The Rangers instead engage in a fight with the monster, which results in Sarah taking so much damage that she disintegrates, leaving a metal ball in her place. Hacktrack immediately grabs the ball and runs off, leaving the other Rangers confused as to what's going on, so they head to shop class to decide what to do. However, when they get there, they discover that Sarah is just fine, and what Hacktrack destroyed was one of several holograms that Sarah's been using so she can be in multiple places at once.
But Sarah, when your clone disappeared, that monster stole the ball thing. Your holo projector?
Yeah, could he do something with it? Nah. No, I really doubt that. What would he use it for anyways?
You're absolutely right, Sarah. I mean, it's not like villains have ever used clones for evil purposes. Back with Hacktrack, he absorbs the technology of the holoprojector, thus gaining the ability to make giant holo clones of Galvanax to destroy the city. This alerts the Rangers, who are surprised to see so many Galvanaxes, so Sarah stays behind to try and shut down the holoprojectors, while the other Rangers head into the field to hold off the big bads. In order to find a solution as quickly as possible, Sarah activates 4 clones to each work on an idea to stop Galvanax, though Mick is very concerned. In the city, the other Rangers try to stop Galvanax with their blasters, but when that doesn't work, they just decide to wait for Sarah to find a solution, rather than, I don't know, calling their Zords to at least put up a fight against Galvanax? Seriously, these guys are just evacuating people while 8 Galvanaxes continue to destroy the city. Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah does tell the others that they need to find Hacktrack to stop the clones, but that still doesn't explain why none of them choose to call their Zords. But that's not the worst of it, as we then get this scene.
Sarah, I need your help to jam Hacktrack's signal. Camera isn't gonna work. Sarah, can you give me a minute? I'm on the verge of a breakthrough, but I need help. I need her now. Don't understand. I said I was getting the Ranger here. It's shivering circuits. Why isn't this working? The answer's everything. Nick! What are you doing?
I just thought that I would learn to play musical instruments, but I can't quite get it right. Maybe you could spare a moment to help me.
Of course not. I am in the middle of a crisis. Besides, you need to focus on playing one instrument, not 4. You know, it's better to do one thing well than to do 4 things terribly.
Interesting. Aren't you doing 4 things at once?
Yeah, I guess I am. And it's a disaster. Oh.
There are so many things wrong with this scene, and I really don't have time to get into them right now, but rest assured, I'll get back to this. After deactivating her clones, Sarah decides to tempt Hacktrack with more of her tech, and soon arrives to help the others, who are still uselessly trying to shoot down Galvanax. Sarah says that her new invention will create even more powerful holoclones, at which point Hacktrack shows up, taking the device from the Rangers and downloading it into his system. However, Sarah reveals that the device has a virus in it, which causes Hacktrack to short circuit and destroys Galvanax's link to his holoclones. With the clones taken care of, the Rangers deal with Hacktrack, who they defeat with the power of their element stars. The monster soon gigantifies though, which is apparently enough to remind the Rangers that they have Zords, since they immediately form the Megazord to take the guy on. Hacktrack flies into space however, which is where the Rangers can't follow, not even in their dragon formation. Luckily, Mick has a solution with the new Astrozord star he got from the Prism, and after combining into the Astro Ninja Steel Megazord, the Rangers follow Hacktrack to the moon, where they finish the monster off, complete with very familiar music.
Ninja Master Blade! Activate! Yeah! Celestial Megazord Cosmic Blast! Final attack!
Hack track over and out!
Show's over! Ninjas win!
I don't even know what to say to that. After the fight, Victor and Monty are getting ready to break Sarah's distance record when the Pink Ranger arrives to drop out of the archery club since she's spread herself too thin apparently, causing Victor to quickly abandon his plan to break her record so he can gloat. But since Monty's still holding onto the giant crossbow, he's soon launched into the air directly at the target, meaning that he's the new record holder. The Rangers are then contacted about the Astrozord going to Gavanex's ship to rescue the Gold Ranger, who, after retrieving his Power Star, morphs in front of Ripcon. The Gold Ranger then leaps into the Zord to evade the General, and the episode ends with the Rangers watching a news report of the Gold Ranger landing in the city below before running off. This episode just sucks. While the parts with the Gold Ranger are pretty cool, and the setup for the episode is decent at best, the biggest reason this episode ultimately fails is because it doesn't execute its themes or ideas all that well. This is a character-focused episode for Sarah, which seeks to demonstrate the potential dangers of spreading yourself too thin, which is an idea that I really like on paper, but the reason that it doesn't work in this episode is because Sarah doesn't seem to be spreading herself too thin until it becomes necessary for her to do so. I mean, before that scene where Mick spells out the moral of the episode, not only is Sarah successfully attending all the clubs she signed up for, but she's even excelling at them. And while you could say that allowing Hacktrack to get the holo projector in the first place was an example of Sarah doing too much at once, I question why she's using one of her clones in that scenario to begin with, since it's clearly after all the club meetings, evident by the fact that the other Rangers are all in the woods with her. Though I guess if she didn't use the clone, we wouldn't have an episode. Furthermore, how do these clones even work? Sarah tells the Rangers that the clones look and act exactly like her, but based on that scene in shop class, the Sarah clones all seem to have different and very impatient personalities, which I guess you could say are all personality traits that Sarah has, which become more dominant after she clones herself, but of course the problem with that is the clones all seem to be acting exactly like the real Sarah until that scene. But even if the clones are independently thinking people, does that mean that Sarah's not the least bit concerned about one of them going rogue and trying to ruin her reputation? Though I guess she just ignores all the potential drawbacks of using the clones, since she just dismisses it when Hacktrack steals a holoprojector. Sure, she shows some concern at the prospect of a monster having her tech, but to tell her friends that everything's fine for no other reason than she can't see why a villain would want cloning technology is just stupid. At the very least, she should have said she put safeguards on the tech to prevent it from being hacked. But the other Rangers also make idiotic decisions in this episode, since they don't call their Zords to fight against 8 giant Galvanaxes. Sure, I would understand if the Rangers are unable to form the Megazord without Sarah, or even that they think that they're not strong enough to defeat several giant bosses at once, but if either one of those are the case, then just say so. Just standing there and watching as the city gets destroyed while occasionally shooting an ineffective blast only serves to make the Rangers look weak, cowardly, and idiotic, which is something you never want to do since they're the heroes of the show. I also have to question why the decision was made to air this as part of the mid-season finale, since near as I can tell, this is just a filler episode with as much Gold Ranger as there was in the last episode, so what was even the point? I get that the Gold Ranger is free now, which opens the story up a bit, but it seems a little misleading to advertise this as part of the Gold Ranger introduction since he's barely in the thing. Overall, this is a terrible episode. While this is certainly not the first episode of this show to be thematically confused, the difference between this episode and something like Live and Learn is that while Live and Learn is confusing whenever you try to connect it to the rest of the season, here we have an episode that just doesn't mesh with the lesson it's trying to teach, and with such a flawed foundation, I have to crown it the worst episode of the season so far. Which doesn't bode well, seeing how it's attached to the mid-season finale. I'm Nick, aka IronMan1993, and may the power protect you. Please subscribe for reviews of Ninja Steel, episode reviews. Also check out Dino Charge reviews too, episode reviews. Also there's Ninjago, which has reviews too. Go! Please subscribe.